The road stretched endlessly ahead, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the barren landscape like a scar on the earth. Ethan leaned forward in his seat, squinting through the windshield of his old pickup truck as the sun dipped low on the horizon. The fuel gauge hovered precariously close to empty, a constant reminder of his dwindling resources. Ethan was a lone traveller, a man accustomed to the solitude of the open road. But as the miles passed by and the gas gauge inched closer to E, a sense of unease began to creep over him. He scanned the horizon for any sign of civilization, but all he saw was an endless expanse of desert. Just when he was about to resign himself to his fate, he spotted it in the distance, a dilapidated gas station, its faded sign barely visible against the setting sun. With a sigh of relief, Ethan steered the truck off the road and rumbled towards the station. As he pulled up to the ancient pumps, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling of foreboding that settled over him. The station looked like it hadn't seen a customer in years, and he half expected the pumps to be dry. But to his surprise, a trickle of gasoline sputtered out as he inserted the nozzle into the tank. With the tank filled, Ethan pushed open the door to the station's convenience store, the bell above the door chiming softly in the stillness of the desert. The interior was dimly lit, the shelves sparsely stocked with dusty cans and faded packages. "Hello?" Ethan called out, his voice echoing in the empty store. There was no response, but as Ethan moved further into the store, he spotted two figures huddled in the corner, man and a woman. The man looked up as Ethan approached, his eyes wide with fear. "Please, you have to help me," the woman cried, her voice trembling with desperation. "He kidnapped me. He's going to kill me." Ethan's heart pounded in his chest as he looked from the woman to the man. He had stumbled into a nightmare, a scene straight out of a horror movie. Without hesitation, he reached for his phone, intending to call the police. But before he could dial, the man spoke, his voice low and urgent. "Don't listen to her. She's lying. She's the one you need to be afraid of." Ethan hesitated, torn between the two conflicting stories. He glanced from the man to the woman, trying to gauge the truth in their eyes. But there was no way to know for sure who was telling the truth. In the end, it was the woman who convinced him. She begged and pleaded, her eyes wide with terror as she recounted the horrors she had endured at the hands of her captor. Ethan's heart went out to her, and he knew he couldn't leave her alone with the man. With a determined nod, Ethan pocketed his phone and turned to face the man. "I'm sorry, but I can't let you hurt her," he said, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. The man's eyes narrowed, his expression darkening with anger. "You're making a mistake," he growled, his hand inching towards his pocket. But before he could make a move, Ethan lunged forward, his hand wrapping around a heavy wrench that lay nearby. With a cry of rage, he swung the wrench at the man's head, striking him with a sickening thud. The man crumpled to the ground, unconscious and bleeding. Ethan stared in shock at the scene before him, his mind reeling from the sudden violence. You saved me," the woman whispered, her hands trembling. Ethan nodded slowly, still trying to process what had just happened. He had stumbled into a nightmare, but somehow he had managed to emerge from it unscathed. As the adrenaline began to fade, Ethan's gaze fell on the woman, and he realized with a start that something wasn't right. There was a darkness in her eyes, a coldness that sent a shiver down his spine. "You're safe now," Ethan said, his voice faltering as he took a step back from the woman. But she only smiled, a smile that sent a chill down his spine. "I am? But are you?" she asked, her voice soft and chilling. "Or have you just fallen into another trap?" Before Ethan could react, the woman lunged forward, her hands closing around his throat with a strength that belied her slender frame. He struggled and fought, but it was no use. In the end, all he could do was gasp for air as the darkness closed in around him. And as Ethan's vision faded to black, he realized with a sinking horror that he had made a fatal mistake. He had trusted the wrong person, and now he was paying the price.
Hope you enjoyed our story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the Void.